Hello everybody, this video will be about Cro Magnon and Neanderthal. It's based off a video I watched tonight and it's very important to me. Very important to me. It also talks about the true meaning of bloodlines. A little background first. I live in California. I've been in California since I was 11 years old. I'm 32 now. I moved here from Romania. I came in through New York. I actually got to see the Statue of Liberty and stood at the base of the Twin Towers, and I just looked at them. I'm like, wow. This was 1997. New York seemed like a truly majestic place. I haven't been back there since. Maybe I will one day. As I've learned through the Bodhi Mantra channel recently, my people are supposed to be named the Dacians. And I learned this because in the 1800s, the Vatican Church came over to my country and dealt with all the major representatives of the country, including all the religious heads, and introduced Christianity. So we have been Christians as a country 99%, or last I knew it was 99%, Christian Orthodox for over 150 years now. Recent pilgrimages into the world of the internet led me to a Romanian channel, of which some videos are in English. I will actually link the one related to this video in the first comment that I post. This channel taught me the true history of my country. So it appears that the Dacians, or now known as the Romanians, have been on that piece of land for at least 2,000 years. How is this known? It's known because there were genetic tests done on the DNA of the Dacians from 2,000 years ago. And there have, of course, all of our DNA is in the database now, probably. I don't know about me. I haven't been to a doctor in so many years. I don't know. Am I in the database? Perhaps. But yeah, for the most part, everyone is in a database somewhere. And there are researchers who study those databases and compare the genetic information of people from today compared to the people from 2,000 years ago. And they realized that a significant chunk of the Romanian population is related genetically to the Dacians from 2,000 years ago. More so, apparently there's a civilization called Civilization Cucuteni, Cucuteni. This was discovered in the area that it's named for. And they found relics or ancient artifacts that are approximately 7,500 years old. And they had gold metallurgy. They knew how to make pots out of clay or whatever ceramic material they used, which to this day still have the red coloring all over them, which is impressive. A paint the last 5,000 years, right? A paint? No, wait, 7,500 years. A paint that lasts that long. Can you believe that? So, there haven't been genetic tests done on that specific culture because I don't think there's been specimens found. But it's very possible that my genealogy goes back, way back to those times. So in essence, whether I lived there in past lives or not, within my DNA, I have the memories of all those that came before me. My father, my father's father, my father's father's father, going back all the way to the start of my genealogy in physical form. It's all stored in my DNA, my metaphysical form, the astral form. So in essence, I should have access to all the memories of all those that came before me. This applies to us all. Obviously, I don't quite yet. Although I feel certain instincts, such as commitment, resolve, discipline, perseverance, patience. Patience is a big one. I feel all these qualities are amplified. Is that due just to me connecting to DNA, unlocking the chains, or the introduction of white monatomic gold? I believe it's a combination of both, because I've been making videos long before I started taking white monatomic gold. It's just my thoughts are sharper now. For me, it truly works. I don't know if the dust that I take is the real deal or what, but it's doing something. So it would appear that my bloodline is relatively pure because of people staying within a certain area. By comparison, today, most children that are born have an impure genealogy because there's people mixing from all over the world. That's the power of love, or one night stands, or an accident. Mutual agreement based on an event that requires constant participation of both parties, but mostly having a kid. This documentary that I saw today was talking about the Romanian Sphinx, one of the greatest wonders of the world, and the world doesn't know about it. Everybody knows about the Egyptian Sphinx, but they don't know about the Romanian Sphinx. This lady that created this documentary stipulated, based on research she had done on what other people who visited the area have discovered, plus real physical evidence and genetic testing. And they found out that there were significant differences between Cro-Magnon, and Neanderthal. Here's what they were. One of them was the Neanderthal actually had a bigger brain than ours. It just was structured differently. They also had quite built bodies, apparently like wrestlers or professional athletes of endurance or physical feats, such as UFC fighters. They were built. So they had very well functioning brains and very physically fit bodies. And they also had a very well developed vocal cord for creating music, songs. Apparently it's the most evolved that ever existed. They were able to make songs that are literally like cymatics. They must have been telepathic. They had to have been. Such intelligence. Brains bigger than ours. I consider myself pretty intelligent. I hope you guys do too. Because anyone that watches my videos, I consider intelligent as well. Super intelligent. Because this is beyond. If we live in a box, this is well beyond the wall of the box. This is way out there. But it's all logical. It's all based on connecting the dots. Something more people need to do. Too many people focus on one aspect and ignore every other aspect of that same aspect. It's nonsense. Nonsense. They were a very well developed culture, not the barbaric monkey type subspecies of human beings that we consider them to be. They were actually a very advanced culture. They seem to have lived in the mountaintops, in caves. And the most important part, they were nocturnal. Which means they looked up at the sky quite a bit. It's very possible, according to this lady, or rather her research, that these people were the ones that invented the whole zodiacal thing, based on observing the natural movements of bodies through space. Come on, man. Don't do this to me. They were a matriarchal society. Matriarchal. Everything went through the woman. And if you think about it, an ant colony, which has a queen, and they make ant hills, they are a very well structured, functioning society. They depend on each other. Every one of them knows their specific role. They get born into that role, they die in that role. There's no stragglers, there's no fighters wanting to be farmers, there's no farmers wanting to be fighters. They just perform their role. And their role is coordinated with the queen's will. Her will is always present in every single ant's mind because the queen is the mother of all of them. Matriarchal society today living and functioning better than human society. Fucking ants, huh? Now, if you notice, ants are very well satisfied with just using the natural resources provided by Mother Earth to do what they do. They are quite creative inventors. They will use even flowers that fall to the ground to build dams where there's water flow into their anthill. Extremely intelligent creatures. They're all always communicating. It's trippy. It seems that the Neanderthals were very much the same way. Always connected, with a mother figure at the top coordinating everything. And this way, everyone was balanced. Everyone received heart chakra frequencies, and everyone put out heart chakra frequencies. Balanced. Cro Magnon, on the other hand, spend most of their day in the daytime. They were not nocturnal like the Cro Magnon, like the Neanderthals. Which means, for the most part, at least initially, their types did not interact with each other. One became sun worshipping, one became moon worshipping. The moon also represents of the two of in the Merkaba. There's the two bigger triangles, and then there's the 8 not triangles, pyramids. There's the two bigger ones that point upwards and downwards, one connected to the sun, one connected to the moon. And then there's 8 smaller ones on the sides connected to, I'm still figuring out, because they're not working properly. I've already established that. In fact, even the moon pyramid is not working properly. The only pyramid working properly is the crown chakra, the receiver. So we receive a lot of unbalanced material. Therefore, we put out unbalanced material because we're not able to filter it out. At least not properly. There's just too much. Just too much. Too much bad frequencies in the air. And then there's the sun, which I've come to realize is the bad guy. The sun is very much alive, just so you know. All planets are. Everything that has an electromagnetic field around it, a torus field, is very much alive. Even a magnet. Even a magnet. So living in the daytime meant they did a lot of warring amongst each other for territorial purposes, and a lot of killing, pillaging, destroying, not creating, destroying, and all the qualities that are pretty dominant in today's society, except today's society has taken all of them to extremes. Very different cultures, opposites, if you will. The ones of the night, the good ones, the love-based ones, and the ones in the daytime, the fear-based ones. Well, apparently, and again, this story about how they were the Cro Magnons and the Homo sapiens is all described in the link that I will provide. Apparently, at some point, Cro Magnon raped Neanderthal women. So they started to mix. And that's what created the giants, if you will. I like this story, but here's where I have an issue. 2 of our chromosomes are fused. Nature doesn't do that, even if different species combine. Best example, dogs. They've been crossbred so much, but none of them have fused chromosomes. At least not that I know of. No animal does, only us humans. So there had to have been some other intervention there. And here's where it gets really interesting. Some of us living today still have original Neanderthal genes within our DNA sequence. It means we have been around that long. And some of us have Cro-Magnon DNA within us. And some of us have both. It's all based on how pure or impure the bloodlines are, and that's why I stated my genealogy initially. Is it possible that I have Neanderthal genes in me? Perhaps. I feel that I do. Do I take this story as factual truth? Parts of it, because I take factual truth out of everything. It's known as universal truth. It is the components that most resonate with us. And there were components that resonated with me. The ideology that in the beginning there was 2 separate evolving species of humans that had different principles of life based on how they perceived life. This is our beginnings, at least on this planet, on Earth. The more we know about ourselves, the more DNA we unlock, because all the DNA we're trying to access, the so-called junk DNA, because science doesn't have a better label for it, all of it contains aspects of ourselves that are rightfully ours. And the only way to access every single little bit of it is by understanding what it is first. We don't just wake up one day and boom, have full access to it. Not yet. Hopefully, by the time this journey is concluded, at least one of us will have figured out how to fully access their DNA, Lucy style, but without dematerializing. That individual will become a leading figure for the human civilization, mankind as it exists today. How? By demonstrating the level they have attained. How? In all aspects of society. It will not be introducing a new religion, but it will definitely be introducing a new perception of reality. Because the current perception of reality we are presented is all skewed. It's all skewed to keep us under control. Instead of one highly intelligent, fully functioning ant-type society, we are a hate thy neighbor type society. There's no trust, there's no love, there's no freedom for self-expression, for creativity. Now, the thing about Neanderthal is they found 1 to 4% of the gene of Neanderthal in current people, living individuals. But they didn't live in just that one specific area of Romania. They lived in many places across the world that has high mountain peaks. It's also very possible all these stories about what do you call it? The giant apes. They made shows about this. What the heck are they called? Big hairy, bigger than an ape. What are they called? Think. Access your memories. Access your memories. Access your memories. Access. Access. Why is access restricted? Why is access restricted? They live in the wild. They howl. They're big. They stand Bigfoot. Wow. Bigfoot. All the different variations of Bigfoot could potentially be them. Which is crazy. And that means that the bloodlines we have truly been looking for, the DNA that matters, is truly the DNA that contains some Neanderthal genes. Because these individuals have been around the longest. Having been around the longest, they have experienced the most. Having experienced the most, their DNA contains memories of long lost times that if they were able to discover how to unlock, they would tell history the true version. So yeah, in the end, it doesn't even matter if you have only Cro Magnon or only Neanderthal genes, because both sides go back to those original times, and who you are today is not necessarily who you were back then, because you have had experiences of life that have helped define you in your journey across this plane of existence through all the reincarnation cycles. If you have reached the master level, you will understand that you have been a criminal in the past, of the worst kind. All of us have, that have been around that long. You don't get to this level of consciousness if you have not experienced many different perceptions of reality. And you have experienced all of them. You were the bad guy. You were the bad guy so many times. In fact, most of us are the bad guy many times more than just being the good guy. Because when you get to being the good guy, it means you're only a few steps away from never having to repeat the cycle again. The cycle of reincarnation. Somehow you get out. Even though this is a prison planet or plane of existence, there is a get out of jail free card. And that is when you have experienced enough. So, these people that have experienced so much, that go back to those times, they are the leaders this reality needs. Because they, if they have an inclination towards vibrating at the heart chakra, the love chakra, they have the potential to create all the improvements society needs. I feel that I'm one of them. I feel that if you're watching this video, you're one of them too.